Well, howdy, folks, and welcome to another cracking rowing season. The 25-26 season is about to kick off in earnest. Tonight, we're covering quite a few bases, but we won't get too bogged down in detail. We're just going to cover off a few things. We're going to cover Masters. We're going to cover what's been happening around the clubs. We're going to cover the APS rowing. We're going to cover the schoolgirl rowing. But as I said, we're not going to get too bogged down, are we, Alan? Anyway, firstly, welcome to the panelists. Alan Crute from Rowing Regatta Form Guides and Chat. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Guy, and lovely to see everybody, and welcome to the new season.
And welcome, Campbell Roberts from Campbell's APS Rowing Rowing Review. Sorry, there's too many R's in all of this stuff, isn't there?
I don't know what it is myself, actually. Yeah. It's one of those.
It's one of those, but it gets a lot of attention, and you've just been recently in Henley, as per one of our other panelists, John Perry from Yarra Yarra Rowing Club. G'day, John. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, pleasure, Guy. Great to be here for a new season. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Binky Kfouri, of course. Welcome back. We didn't have you with us last season, but great to see you back with us again for tonight's show.
Thank you, Guy. But I must point out I am not the rowing guru you put in the introduction. Just an enthusiastic supporter, I'd rather be known as.
An enthusiastic supporter is what we call a rowing guru in our circle. Don't worry about that. You're certainly up there on the knowledge and skills and interest, which is the most important thing, isn't it? We do have two panelists on here who were recently spotted over in the Royal Henley Regatta, John and Campbell. I think Campbell was living there for the whole period, and John, you were certainly there for the Saturday. How did it all go, John? How did you enjoy your time over there?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful for a rowing tragic like me. And semi-finals day was pretty special to see the Aussies beat the British in the Grand Challenge Cup. And, of course, the Kiwi, Finn Hamill, knocking off Ollie Ziebler in the scull in the semi. So it was a great day. So I was only there for one day.
That was impressive to see, though, wasn't it? That single scull, that was impressive to see.
It was awesome. Absolutely. It was totally unexpected. So, great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Campbell trumps me for how many days attended.
Yeah, Campbell, were you there the whole stint? You were there for a few days?
I would like to have been there. I was there for the Tuesday, just in the stewards area, wandering around, and then on the Friday I was invited to a picnic on the riverbank with some local Englishmen. So it's a very quintessential sort of. I don't think there's any more English than the Henley Regatta. It's just amazing.
I've got to be there. I've got to make it there one of these days. That's for sure. Now, we could get bogged down talking about Henley forever and a day, but we won't because we've got a fair bit to go through. Alan, I believe there's been some changes afoot on numerous fronts. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on what's been happening across the board?
Well, I can. I've just been writing up, schools for the new season, and also the saltwater challenge is coming up this weekend, so that's been of interest. Numbers are down there, by the way, which is
noticed.
Yeah, which is a bit of a concern. There's two calendar issues which will affect Victorian rowing quite considerably. One is, and Binky might know about this, the New South Wales State Championships have been brought forward 2 weeks. And what that means is that instead of being on the 7th, 8th of February, they're now on the same day as the Henley, the Victorian Junior State Championships. So what that means is that schools that would normally go to the Henley and perhaps New South Wales states can't. It also means that the Victorian states, if you look at the draft calendar, the year 8s are still scheduled to row on that date, but the year 9s aren't. The year 9s are in the ether at the moment, but I've been told they're due to row on the first Friday, the Friday of the senior championships.
Right.
Which is an interesting move. So what that all means is the boys, so the Victorian State Championships, it looks as if the boys and the girls, according to the draft, will row on the Saturday. The Ballarat Head of the Lake will be on the Sunday. While that's happening, the New South Wales State Championships are on. So the interesting issue is that if indeed the year 10s, that is the intermediates, are required to row on the Friday,
Yep.
My question is why? I mean, I know some intermediates go to Sydney for New South Wales State. Are you going to go to principals and tell them they're going to take their girls out for a whole day?
Yeah.
Row,
Yeah.
rowing on the previous Saturday.
Yeah.
Is the whole cost scenario. So that's an interesting scenario. But because New South Wales has moved, that affects the Wendouree Ballarat Regatta, because that usually is smaller than the other regattas because people aren't rowing it because they're going to New South Wales. So John King, who's the big wig up there who sponsors that regatta, will be looking at his numbers with interest, because that regatta should expand this year.
That'd be JG King Holmes, wouldn't it?
JG King, indeed. And
we give him a good run on this show, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And he's a lovely guy, but he's always his numbers are 200 entrants less than the Ngambia regatta, simply because the excuse has always been, oh, we're preparing for New South Wales. Well, that's not the case this year. Conversely, the Ngambia regatta, which has 700 odd entries, is now the prelim to the New South Wales. So are its numbers going to go down by 100 or so? So it's kind of interesting, actually. 10 Victorian girls' schools rowed at the New South Wales last year, and there was 7 that rowed both the Henley and New South Wales. So it's kind of an interesting situation. 15 girls' schools rowed the Wendouree Ballarat last year, 25 rowed the Ngambia. So I suspect what's going to happen is you're going to get a balancing effect.
Yeah, yeah.
But the interesting thing is what RV does with Victorian junior states, because I can't see the principals who have got quite used to sending their girls off on a Friday to head of schoolgirls.
Yeah.
I can't see them looking at RV and saying, you're telling us to take them out for Vic State. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the problem with that. Absolutely.
I see a problem with that as well.
Yeah. In theory, it's a great idea. In theory, putting them together, having boys and girls together, I think is fantastic. Like, that's what I love about the Melbourne Head Regatta. Everyone's in, all of us, masters, everyone. And I think that's fantastic. But I can understand the execution of something like that is not not practical.
But Guy, consider yourself a girls' school, and you've then got to row 2 days. Usually, if you're Genazzano, you'd be rowing the one Saturday, but then you've got to come back and row the extra day. That's extra cost. And that's
What do you think of all that?
Dominate girls rowing, not the APS.
Yeah. What's your take on this?
They do it in New South Wales. They certainly have their state champs over the 3 days. So I suppose there's form there.
But this is juniors.
For juniors,
yeah.
But at New South Wales, the juniors are part of their bigger state champs program.
But you're having juniors the previous Saturday as well as the following Friday.
Yeah, so it's really,
So it's really
what I will say about New South Wales state champs is that it's definitely a preview to nationals generally, and for anyone that's wanting to nominate for state crews and for under 19, under 23, and now perhaps the Oceania cruise, it's an important regatta to get in there. Often required that you do a small boat, either a pair or a single in that regatta. So I don't know whether RV may change that requirement, but it's certainly a regatta that if you're sort of at that top end and wanting to get into the elite cruise, you're expected to be there.
So, Binky, would New South Wales have pushed that forward 2 weeks because RA would have wanted it to be nearer nationals, do you think?
I have no idea what their
I don't know either.
reasoning for it is. And I only just noticed it as I was, putting stuff in my calendar, but I don't know what the background there is.
Yeah, it's interesting,
but
isn't it?
It's a super important regatta for those crews that are wanting to go to nationals and wanting to represent their state or their country.
Absolutely,
yeah.
So that's an interesting one. The other one, Guy, just quickly, is the 2 most successful Victorian regattas pre-Christmas are obviously the Melbourne Head, and I'm excluding the Head of the Yarra because it's basically an interstate affair. It's a very quirky regatta. The other one's the Sacred Heart Regatta, which had 330 entries last year. Well, what they've done is they've taken out the year 8s out of that regatta, which means that's 4 hours worth of rowing. So that's taken out 140 entries out of that regatta.
Wow.
So that makes Sacred Heart marginal in terms of making a profit out of the regatta.
Yeah.
And so what they've now done is they've created those 2 mini Albert Park 500-metre regattas.
Yep.
Which is an interesting scenario. I mean, I can understand in some way. Sacred Heart was, an 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night regatta. I took a look at the umpire schedule last year. 7 of the 10 did both sessions, 7 o'clock till 7 at the night.
Yeah.
I'm their age now, so I can that is. But that's kind of interesting as well, because we're basically emasculating our second biggest regatta, and our own. So I'm not sure. And a lot of junior girls actually debut at that regatta. I've looked at. They usually debut the Lauriston or the Loretto. Loretto will gain out of this because their regatta the week before will gain numbers.
Yep.
And, of course, the Sacred Heart will obviously lose numbers. So that will have a bit of an impact as well. We still only have one racing regatta which really caters for open pre-Christmas, which I said to you today, Guy.
Yeah.
Which is miles behind New South Wales.
What did you say, New South Wales? How many
New
they
South
have?
Wales. Well, St Catherine's, New South Wales, the national champions, raced 3 times pre-Christmas in racing regattas.
Over 2K.
2,000. They could have done 4 if they wanted to. We have 1.
Yeah.
And,
it's not. Yeah, it makes it. You're chasing your tail when you're.
I think So that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But I've come up with a solution to that. But we might save that for another day.
Yep. All right. Now, shall we? Is there anything else we need to cover at this early stage? I'm going to come back to you, Alan, on the schoolgirls rundown very shortly. But I think that's sort of we can move on to the next topic of conversation. So, John Perry, what can you tell us? What have you seen around the traps on the riverbanks, especially now you're down at Yarra Yarra? You see a lot more than you did when you're out in the boondocks with us at Hawthorn, of course. I actually shouldn't say the boondocks, the Paris end of the Yarra, but up at Yarra Yarra, what have you seen from a masters rowing perspective, and what have you noticed going on around?
Well, there hasn't been much of an off-season for the Masters, to be honest, because the Australian Masters Championships finished on the 1st of June, and the numbers for that regatta were pretty strong, nearly 1,000 athletes, which is sort of up there. So that finished the 1st of June, and then winter sculling kicked off on the 7th of June. Yeah. And winter sculling's, I know you've done it, Guy, it's pretty popular. You get about 100 athletes per event, but about 70 of those are Masters. So it's almost like the Masters finish their season 1 regatta, and then the next weekend they're doing winter sculling.
That's only really just come to a head this weekend with the second running of the Grand Ponderosa up at Lake Eildon, which was a big success.
I didn't make it myself. It was a bit cold, but I gather it was a good success. So Salty's been well supported by the Masters. Sorry, not Salty, the winter sculling, which then leads us into Salty, which of course is a quad scull event. And Alan's earlier point, the numbers are well down. So last year there were 33 Masters crews. This year there's 17. I can't even guess why that might be. It could be the Ponderosa, but to be honest, the numbers weren't so strong. They're going to pull you out next week. So that's interesting. When we've had Masters,
I think it's a bit of a theme we have been seeing over the last few years, though, haven't we? There has been a bit of a softening. I don't know. I think maybe our season is too long, rather than focusing on a particular thing, and then everyone sort of loses a bit of interest. They come and go and they waver, rather than being focused bang for 4 or 5 months. There's this come and go as you like through a 12-month period, and that may be one of the factors. I don't know. But I did notice that most definitely looking at the Salty, which I'm looking forward to on Saturday. But, it is definitely those numbers are a concern. And it's not just Masters. It's across the board. The entries are down over 20%.
There's 2 less schools Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not sure Victorian rowing's exactly in ascendancy at the moment. I actually think it's slightly over the hill. Just as a general comment.
Yeah.
Well, I would have thought with a fairly healthy participation rate amongst masters and winter sculling, that would translate to salty, but it hasn't. The other issue is we've got World Masters kicking off in 2 weeks' time in Spain. And if my in-depth analysis of the 100-page PDF start list is correct, there's about 180 Aussie Masters crews going to that. So that could be another issue. Maybe
there's about 1,800 events too. So yes, you're right about the PDF.
There's about 5,000 athletes apparently, but it's a bit tricky to try and work it out. But I think there's about 180 Aussie crews going over to World Masters in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, and then of course the Yarra, which I know Alan had his thoughts on. It is a bit of a Masters event these days. We've touched on that previously. I've seen a lot of eights training on the Yarra. Interestingly, you'll see the DEF eights. They'll push off about 6 a.m. Come back in, go off to work, and then you'll see probably the G and the H's pushing off at about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
more sensible hours, John.
Gentlemen's hours, ladies' hours, of course. But no, there's a noticeable increase in the number of eights that are training, and there's some serious training going on. Like Mercantile are going side by side with a couple of their crews, which with Masters eights training side by side is rare, but
very rare.
Pretty motivating for the crews, I dare say.
Yeah.
In terms of Masters crews, there's about 182 entered so far for Head of the Yarra. I think they got 192 last year, but the entries haven't closed yet. So that is a bit of I guess a focus for Masters rowing, the Head of the Yarra, as we've touched on before. But I think overall that's a bit of a snapshot of what's happening with us older oars people.
Older oars people. I think it's sort of well put, isn't it? But it is interesting to seeing those numbers. I think because Salty usually is a big kickoff of the whole season. I always sort of consider it to be the start of the season, and when you're talking nearly half the Masters crews compared to last year. That's a massive hit. And bear in mind, World Masters rowing's on every year, so I don't know why Spain would be any more popular than any other. But maybe there's just other groups going. I don't know. But anyway, moving straight along, Binky, what can you tell us of what you've been seeing around the traps in some of the, I don't know, for lack of a better word, the pointy end of the rowing space with some numerous events of late?
Yeah, I've been watching mainly the girls because I'm more familiar with the girls that are in the program. But we've had the under-19 World Championships where we had a good number of athletes representing Australia. Unfortunately, not any Victorian girls. We had a couple of Victorian boys who were in the quad, coached by Jamie McDonald from Ballarat, who did us proud. We then had the new event, which is the Oceania event, which is for under 22 rowers. So there's no world championship event for under 21s or under 22s. So you go from under 19 all the way to under 23, which is quite a big gap. So
huge gap.
Yeah, and we used to have the under 21 event, which was the Trans-Tasman Challenge, which was Australia versus New Zealand. And what the Oceania thing is a replacement of that, where you have all the states represented and the North and South Island of New Zealand. And it's going to be open to other nationalities who want to come along. So I think there's a good sort of a seed for a good opportunity. Victoria just cleaned up. That was in July. We had a fantastic regatta. It was held in Adelaide this year, very successful. And I hope that the girls and boys that participated there will be the future for the under 23s and beyond. And and it sounds like a great event. They also have lightweight events, which I think, it's a shame we don't have lightweight rowing at an Olympic level anymore, but we certainly have it at other sort of world-class levels. So it's good that they've kept that in the program there. But the most exciting thing for me certainly was the under-23 World Championships, where we had Romy Cantwell represent Australia in the single scull.
Yeah.
And she just had an amazing performance, came third, and was very, very competitive. And I don't think she'd mind me saying she had a terrible start. But I don't know what happened. I haven't had a chance to find out that, but had a disastrous start in the final and clawed back with every stroke to have a very close finish in third position. And as a result of that, she has been invited to represent Australia at the Senior World Championship now.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a big step
so she's
up.
off to Shanghai. But not only that, she is our only female sculling boat being sent. We have no double and no quad going to Worlds in the sculling boats. We've got sweep rowers, but so a massive achievement for an under-23 athlete to be representing Australia in the single scull in Shanghai. I just think is fantastic. And Romy's an incredible athlete, but she's also an incredible person. She's a medical student and all-round really great person. So I'm really happy for her.
Yeah, that's excellent, isn't it? Especially, as you said, at that age to get called up to the senior level. There is a big step up, and I don't think people realise that how much of a step up from under 23 to senior level, elite level athletes, where they're just so much more developed and also.
She's got lots of guts, hasn't she? When she rows,
she's never gives up. Very tough competitor. Yeah. I must say though, at that under 23 World Championships, there were quite a number of Victorians selected in the crews that were there, both male and female. But a lot of the girls who are over in the States, I think other than Anna Morrison in the female 8, they were all the selected from the university programs over there. So, and look, everyone did us proud, but Romy was the one that came home with the medal on that occasion.
Yeah. And I always go on about the single scullers. They're the gutsy ones. That's to have the courage to put yourself out in a single scull in this sport is something special, I think. I always say that, but I think it makes a big difference. Well, thanks for all of that, Binky. We'll keep moving along because I know Alan's going to take about 3.4 hours to get through the schoolgirl stuff. But no, we won't.
3 minutes.
No, we won't. We'll keep him in check. But let's move along now to find out what's happening in the world of the APS rowing. I know, Campbell, it's very early days, obviously, as most of the schools are still just finishing up on their spring athletics or whatever they might be doing, and water polos and things like that, rather than the rowing. But is there anything you can tell us that you've seen around the traps or here, or a gut feel of what to expect for the year ahead?
I guess the first bit of good news was originally at the Nationals this year, the concern was that there would be a clash next season with Header River and Nationals. But thankfully, looking at the regatta, that's no longer the case. So, which is great. So I always think there should be an asterisk when there's the Nationals without the Victorians. Yes. But so that's good news. A few coaching changes. I don't have full details, but I know Xavier have just appointed a new first aid coach, I believe. They haven't released the name that I can tell yet. And I know St. Kevin's were looking for a new first aid coach with Brendan Scott moving back down to Gippsland. So some few changes there. So Xavier been really competitive the last 2 years. They've finished second twice in Header River. They're normally in at the 1,000-meter mark, but then they can't quite hold on for that extra 1,000. So interested to see if they can.
They certainly have been coming up the ranks, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got the numbers. They should. Scotch, Xavier, MGS. They've got the numbers. So you just got to find 8 good ones.
Yeah. Well, eight that want to keep pushing through, or you should say more like 16, but because you need the others to keep the 8 honest, right? You're not going to come out and have a great first crew without a strong second crew. It's just not going to happen.
That Noel Donaldson assures me that the MGS is looking very good this year. Like, he thought last year they're probably maybe too short of being a super boat.
Yeah,
but he thinks he's got 9 really good ones at least. So he's confident.
as
we all are at this stage of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess they're all just heavy training mode, coming off footy season, and getting back in the boats. So time will
really it. And there's not a lot for the schoolboys this side of the season, is there? I mean, if
they might do Melbourne Head, and that's pretty much it. So it's a bit of a shame because like we're rowing, 99% of the time you're training, and 1%.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, Alan. As you were saying earlier, with it's pretty poor, I think. I mean, for someone who absolutely hates training and absolutely loves racing, in every sport I participate in, it's a pretty miserable way to be just going and flogging yourself day in, day out, and then saying, "Well, I'm not getting to race until what have we got? Darwin Regatta in at the end of January, really."
They often used to skip the Ballarat anyway and train and then head up to New South Wales. So which is a shame, but tactics, I guess,
takes the fun out of it. I mean, I understand all these focuses on, say, individual events, and a lot of the schools don't participate in all of the regattas that they could participate in because they're too busy focusing on Head of the River as a good example. I just don't know that it's fair on the kids that they get to miss out on opportunities when, if you put a race in front of me, I'm there. It doesn't matter what it is.
Guy, with schoolgirls, only less than 25% of the kids at the start actually finish.
Yeah.
We've got to get them more engaged, and
the way you get them engaged is by racing, right? It's a sport.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying to you earlier. I mean, we've got the time trials start now. I mean, it was interesting. Rowing Victoria, in their e-news the other day, used the word excitement and time trial in the same sentence. I mean, if you're going to have the time trials start this weekend, don't have them finishing in mid to late November. I mean, have them finishing before the Melbourne Cup stuff, including the Melbourne Head and the Head of the Yarra. And the small period we've got available, then you put in the racing regattas for about that 3-week interval. So at least we can catch up with New South Wales a little bit and actually have them race. Because you not only lose the kid, you lose the parents. The parents are more important in some ways than the kids because they pay.
They're the ones that pay the money and do the driving at 5 in the morning.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Now, just back to you, Campbell. Obviously, early days, but who's going to win this year? I know we always talk about it, even this early stage.
Put Scotchy in there. They generally don't lose, but the last 5 years. Put your Scotch hat back on. I guess the last 5 years, Brighton Grammar's won 2 out of the 5. So it's Brighton Grammar and Scotch up there. I expect Brighton Grammar would have been disappointed last year. They should have had a much better season. 3 or 4 boys of that boat had won the year before. So they should have been a lot more competitive. So I expect them to bounce back. Their Year 10 program last year, they were virtually undefeated except for Head of River. So that augurs well,
obviously, doesn't it?
Yeah. So they got a strong Year 10 just coming through. Just some big boys in that boat. So they should be up there for sure.
Apart from that cap I just put on, we're not allowed bias in these shows. We've got to share it around, and obviously it's going to be Scotch. But
so you got to go Scotch. They generally don't lose easily. So I think BGS and MGS I think will be given a good push. And an ideal season is when each week someone different wins. That's
I agree. And we did have that sort of last season as well, didn't we?
Or Scotch won everything last year.
Did they? The year before, I'm thinking. Yeah.
I'd also suggest if Noel Donaldson's feeling confident, I wouldn't discount MGS.
But had a tragic year last year, as we all know. I was amazed they could keep on rowing. Personally, I just don't know how they held it together, and they were literally just holding it together at to get to the end. So
I
expect this year they will definitely be more competitive and a better scenario. So I think it augurs well for a good season. So time will tell.
I think the most important, now let's finish on this note about the APS boys, but I think the most important question is who will be commentating at the Scotch Mercs Regatta this year? Do you think? Campbell, do you reckon we'll get an invite back after last year, or do you think we'll be pushed to the?
If they listen to the tape, probably not.
You didn't make any mistakes, did you?
Oh,
no, we couldn't see anything for the first half hour.
The sun was so bright, and then we realised that looking out the window was different to what live stream was.
Yes, it was a bit of a circus.
Campbell? Can I ask you a question?
You can.
The clash between Nationals and the APS. It's obviously not this year. Is it 27 or 28?
I'm not sure, but the rumour was at the Nationals this year was that it was going to be a clash. So.
Well, it's not, is it? It must be. It's usually Easter, isn't it? So.
Well, the Header River is generally normally around about 24th, 25th of March, but it's the 21st this year. So I'm not sure if it has actually moved forward or it's just the way.
The reason I'm asking you the question is that 27 is obviously Perth. So if you're going to miss one, you want it to be Perth.
Yeah.
Oh, very good point.
Especially after conditions last time in Perth. So.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about
a bit like the Masters, John? Isn't it? They're shipping us off to Perth. Well, shipping us. I don't think I'll be going that far, but Perth this season.
And what do you think, Alan, about the late change to Barrington? Because apparently when all the Victorian schools went to book accommodation, all the Sydney and Canberra schools had already pre-booked.
I can confirm that is true.
Yes.
Well, I'm warming to Barrington mainly because of the course being less prone to crosswinds than just about anywhere else.
And they were lucky this year. Had beautiful weather this year.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Not in the mornings.
Strong headwinds, but
you can take Perth and
rain.
Binky and I were talking on Facebook. I mean, with Western Sydney International Airport opening next year, why you wouldn't have 2027 in Penrith is beyond me. But anyway, 20 kilometres from Penrith is the airport. Perfectly positioned, and you go over to Perth.
Well, as you know, Alan, my question is, what's the best scenario for the athletes? And Penrith is always going to be the best for the athletes.
No,
I know there's politics behind all of this and money and whatnot. Barrington is the most beautiful place I've ever visited in my life, but we were there last year. They've had their show. They did a great job. It was really hard. It's hard to get the boats over there. It's expensive for everyone. There were people staying as far away as Hobart because it was impossible to get.
Oh, really? Yeah, I wondered that.
We were there all week. I don't know how many kilometres we drove because, no one's staying nearby unless, of course, you have some inside scoop, which someone did this year. So we've already booked for next year in two different accommodation, and we will drive hundreds and hundreds of kilometres over that week. But there's also, getting the boats over there and getting the spectators over there. Yeah, so I do have an issue with it not being the alternate year Penrith thing that we've become accustomed to. As far as Western Australia goes, when we finished the last Nationals there, we were like, hallelujah, that'll be another 10 years away. That's a massive thing to do it there again. The conditions were appalling, but it's, again, really difficult. Imagine taking your boats from Queensland to Perth. It's a massive experience for everybody.
Gina's in Perth. I mean, I just think it's a stupid decision. I mean, why after the Olympics, when rowing has copped one in the neck, why wouldn't you play conservative, stay in Penrith for a while and rebuild? I mean,
there must be a reason why, but
I don't get it.
Again, what's the best thing for the athletes?
Yeah,
Penrith.
I can handle Barrington only because of the lack of. I mean, all of our courses are built east-west, which is why we get all these crosswinds.
Yeah.
All the runways that work in Australia are built north-south because that's where they fly into the wind. I mean, and we've got a course in Tasmania which basically didn't get any crosswinds, so I get that, but I don't get Perth at all.
No. Oh, well, maybe they're just trying to share the love. Maybe they just toss a coin,
Or maybe they're not as competent as we'd like them to be.
Are you implying money there, Binky? Was that the little... It's always money.
I'm furious about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
What I heard was that the New South Wales government withdrew a lot of the funding they would normally provide. So that was what I heard was the reason for the late change.
Money.
Yeah.
Well, look, at the end of the day, though, to be fair, what's your thoughts here, John? But to be fair, we are getting the Masters over there, right? So, isn't that enough?
The Masters in Perth.
Yeah. Yeah, well, isn't that... They're giving them something. I mean, although the last time they gave them that, they took it away before the event and moved it to Ballarat.
They did in 2022. All I'm saying is I better go next year. I got a bit of heat for not going to Sydney this year, but that's another story.
Excellent. All right. Sorry?
Not that they missed me, I'm sure, but anyway.
I'm sure you were missed. He wouldn't have been given heat otherwise, John. He wouldn't have been given heat otherwise. But never mind. Now, Alan, we're not going to put you on too much of a time frame, but we've got to be sort of, what are you going to tell us about the schoolgirls? What can we cover off about the schoolgirls?
Okay. Well, look, I've done several previews so far, and I've got quite a few in the can. But I just thought we'd have a few initial thoughts. Firstly, single sculls for this year. Sadie Schlicht, who John will know very well, being a Yarra Yarra person. She made the national final last year, comes back, so she'll go into this year as the favourite there. Grace Holton from Cardinia, who rose for Barwon. She was third ahead of schoolgirls. She'll float around during the year, but she's an excellent rower. And the two inters, Rio Smith is an excellent rower, did extremely well during the season, one head of schoolgirls, and Violet Whithouse from Coral was second. But Violet's rowing this weekend in a quad for Corowa, and I think Rio was entered at one stage, coxing guy.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think she's disappeared from that, but those are the four you'd look at initially, and then, who's going to pop up beyond that, who knows at this stage. I thought we did brilliantly. This was the event at Nationals, the schoolgirl single scull, which I thought we did really well in. We got about 6 or 7 girls into semis. And for a Victorian group, that was, I don't know, Binky's nodding her head positively. I thought that was superb. The fact that Sadie, I don't know what happened to Sadie in the finals. She won her heat, quarter and semi, missed it in the first 200 metres in the final and ran 6th or 7th. But, I mean, I thought she did really well. And so that was the most positive part of Nationals for me, was the single scullers.
Well, I think that's a credit to David Orchard's program at Yarra Yarra, because single sculling in Victoria has not been a big thing for a long time. And he has built that program up, and everyone that we've seen have schoolgirl success, well, other than perhaps some of the Ballarat contingent, have come out of that program.
Totally agree.
So hopefully Sadie's been attending the winter program and she'll be back.
I mean,
well, they're out there rowing with the bands around the bow of the sculls at the moment. I'm not sure what you call them, but to create extra drag.
Band.
Yeah.
To give them more endurance training. I'm not sure.
I don't the anchors in our day.
There's a 3-day guy.
Instead of skiing, Guy, you should perhaps go back into a single.
Well, I would have been more productive this year, but although I think Binky's worse off than me from a skiing front this year. I've done my shoulder, Binky, I didn't mention, so I was out of action on the weekend too, but luckily mine's only minor and I'm on the repair already, but good old skiing. It's a dangerous thing, isn't it?
All right. Quickly on the doubles. We're not going to know much here for a while.
Yep.
in the last couple of years, or 3 or 4 years, Albert Park, Corowa, New South Wales have dominated that event. We've got that St Catherine's inter-crew that might row on, although I suspect they'll be needed in the 8. We just have to wait and see there. We've got a certain Fintona crew which might go on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
Doubles just really depends. With those medium-sized schools, it really depends on they got a Cox, and do they have a doubles crew that actually meshes together?
Yeah.
But you'd predict a medium-sized school is going to win that. It depends on whether it'll be Albert Park, Corowa, New South Wales, Corowa, whatever. Too early to tell.
Yep.
In 4s, this is particularly interesting because in the saltwater, you'll see that Genazzano's inter to senior conversion rates are really low, which means I don't think they're going to be rowing 8s. Which means
they've only got 3 crews entered all up, haven't they? Three crews for the whole of Salty.
That's right. That's 1 8 and a 4, but really only about 40% of those inters have gone on. They had 2 8s and inters. Now, maybe that the school's got something on. I mean, you can't always tell with the saltwater because sometimes there's another school activity.
Yeah.
But if you take the view on that Genazzano rows 4s again, that'll liven up the Ballarat crews because Genazzano won the silver last year. I actually think of the Ballarat crews, Clarendon, which has dominated for several years but didn't last year because they had that era, I still think they're going to be making up ground this year. Expect Ballarat Grammar to probably go out as early favourites. They've been much better at inters. They won ahead of the Lakers inters and was slightly ahead of Clarendon, ahead of schoolgirls in the quad at inters as well. So that's going to be close. There's no outstanding crew there.
Yep.
I suspect, which is going to be a problem at nationals, I think, more than anything else. But you can expect a really great competition between those 4 crews. That Damascus crew will be reasonable as well. They weren't too far off last year. So good competition, but I'd say Grammar and LB and Genazzano perhaps a little bit in front of Clarendon at this stage. But again, we haven't seen anything yet. Interestingly, with the quads, Strathcona's retention rates at the saltwater are superb. Brighton's are fairly good, not superb, but fairly good. Yep. I know Gippsland last year thought going into this year they'd still rank 1st or 2nd, which is probably right. That lass, Lily Canfield, who rowed at the Henley, she's going to have to lead that boat through because Tavassi and April Harrison are gone. They're finished. Strathy will be solid. Albert Park, that were 11 seconds behind Gippsland last year, all of their girls returned. All those girls last year were year 11s.
Right.
It doesn't always mean being a year 11 means you're going to be better as a year 12, but that's going to be interesting. And their second division boat actually won the gold. So Albert Park will be watched interestingly there. Of the Wrighton girls, I thought 3 of them would go on. At the saltwater, only 2 of them are there, the twins with the unpronounceable surname. I don't think Corowa, I think their the lead girl coming up, Whithouse, I think she'll end up rowing singles and you can forget the others. So I think that's a 4-way go. Too early to tell because we haven't seen anything yet. Nick Bartlett, who runs Gippsland and who I now believe is the director of Rowing Victoria, is very astute at picking where his boat is. If he says he's going to be 1st or 2nd this year, you can probably bet that's right. And on the 8s, well, fancy this. Last year we had 7 boats in the reckoning up.
Sorry, Alan. I just got to interrupt you briefly. There's a bit of a smart little comment that's just popped up on Facebook that I've just shared there from a fellow coxswain, Sam Lincoln, challenging me to a race in a single. We'll see, Sam. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. What do you reckon, John? I reckon we should take that on, shouldn't we?
Well, Sam's been doing a lot of rowing and coxswain.
I know he has. Yeah. But you know me, I work best without the training.
And with your injuries,
sorry, John.
Just with your injury, I'd maybe give it a couple of months before you take that challenge on.
Actually, I've had a good point. I can't lift my arm at the moment. I'm going to worry more about swimming and I do rowing at this point. Anyway, yep, I reckon it might happen this time round, Sam, and we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Sorry, Alan.
No, that's all right. Well, I just thought we'd get into the eights quickly. Look, we had 7 boats in the mix last year, which is interesting because New South Wales in total only have about 6 boats in their entire fleet. Mind you, they are national champions. The interesting thing is the big 3, MGGS was second last year. Their last 6 regattas, they finished second every time. Loreto Toorak have dominated the last 2 years in juniors and inters. They were 4th last year. You'd have to expect them to really be on the podium. If they weren't on the podium, Binky, that would be a major surprise. And MLC faded to 7th last year. And I would think that for them, that would be an unsatisfactory finish. So of the others, you've got St Catherine's who won. I mean, they've gone are the head of rowing and the head coach, which is an interesting scenario. I haven't written about that yet, but that's interesting. Geelong Grammar were 3rd. They don't change much. Furbank were 5th. Geelong College lose most of the girls from their first 8 last year. They might struggle. Caulfield Grammar were 8th last year, now being well run. It's an interesting scenario. I put in little arrows as to where I think they finish this year, but it's too early to tell. I think we're going to have about 6 or 7 in it again, which is going to be fabulous. But I think Loreto's the one with the most pressure on them. Having won like 18 gold medals ahead of schoolgirls, mainly in juniors and inters, and the same last year, you cannot really not be first or second with that type of scenario, in my view.
Yep.
I mean, I did hear from a St Catherine's parent at the from the presentations last year when the Loreto Toorak parents were so cocky they'd won all those medals. And I think he said to one of them, "Well, you didn't win the big one, did you?" I mean, the big one's worth probably half a dozen of those medals at least. So for them, they really need to win it, I think. And MLC need to. I mean, that's the first time I can ever remember MLC's firsts and seconds not being in an A final. I went back a long way to try to find it, and they were. It's the first time I think that's ever happened.
Well, they've got a good contingent going to the Salty this weekend. Maybe they'll get off on a right.
Well, interesting. If you have a look, they've only got 5 inter-crews. It was 7 last year. They're down as well.
Oh, right, okay.
So I actually think the eights competition is our best chance of winning a nationals gold.
Yeah.
So we want to have an outstanding crew. Yeah. So which one is it going to be, Guy?
Well, you're the expert there, Alan. But,
well, I don't know yet, but I mean, we're going to win.
You'll know pretty soon.
The last 2 years at nationals, we haven't won a gold medal. The six schoolgirl events, and I'm including the under 17-8. So we've got the 5 schoolgirl events and the under 17-8. We haven't won a gold medal. New South Wales has won 7. Okay. Are we going to win one this year?
Well, based on the earlier conversation of the fact that they don't have any racing.
Well, our best chances in the senior 8. So we need 1 or 2 of these crews to be outstanding. That's what we really want to come through.
Yeah.
I feel like just chiming in there quickly when I'm just reflecting back on Loreto and the strength of their program, having been a part of that program for many years. The reason why Loreto have the strength in the last 5 years is that the focus was not on winning. For many, many years, the focus was on participation, on retention, and getting girls to take part in the program. Every girl that wanted to row could row, so it wasn't a selective process in the junior years. And I think we have to be very careful that, yes, it's great to have the first 8 kind of win, but having a successful program isn't about that. And that the ultimate goal is medals and all of that. But Loretto's strength has always been that they have a very good culture within the program, and it's about every girl being as important, whether they're in the 17th crew or the first crew, and that is how that school has done so well in the last 5 or 6 years.
I'm glad you've said that, Binky, because I think that's absolutely spot on, 100, and it's a good observation, and that applies to all sport in general, especially at school level. If you go in with that focus of participation and enjoyment, you will get results. That's just a guarantee, because you will have retention, and within that group, the bigger group, obviously, with the bigger retention, means there's more of the competitive people there still going at the tail end of it, who will give you those results out of your top crew. But it certainly isn't just about a first crew, and we do talk about that a lot. I know, Campbell, we certainly do with the schoolboys. Everyone's like, "Oh, and you even mentioned it before. You said, oh, we need 8 rowers." I'm saying, no, we need 16 at least. The reality is, we need 5 crews of 8 rowers, to be able to get that dominance that Scotch have had.
And that's right. It's very it's intense sport, So and people drop off, get injured and damaged.
It makes it very hard and to stay motivated unless you're actually out there enjoying it. And let's be honest, rowing training is not a world of fun. So it is about having the camaraderie of the athletes, the kids, just being out there and enjoying it. I think that's. I'm glad you said what you just said there, Binky, because I hadn't really thought of it until you just highlighted it. Then
the other thing that I always like to reflect on is that when you look at the kids that are representing in under 19, now under 22 and under 23, many of them are not from those big 8s from schools. I mean, there's a cohort of those St. Catherine's girls that came through a few years ago that are certainly up there still, but I can say that a lot of these kids are coming from quads and from singles and from other smaller programs.
Hawthorn Rowing Club, Binky. Hawthorn Rowing Club, the Oceania guys.
From Yarra Yarra and from Ballarat and Gippsland. So the 8s are a big thing when you're at school, and then you leave school and all of a sudden you put them all in they've all got to row a small boat, and the wheat from the chaff is very quickly separated.
Oh, it certainly is. Hence why I love the single.
That's where the marketing is, though. I mean, it's still the prestige. I mean, look,
it is at school level, but then you leave school and it's a big culture shock to get into the world of rowing, where it's not all about the 8s.
No, I agree. Yeah, agree.
Well, the girls you tend to remember are the ones that come from the smaller schools, because the girls that come out of the 8s don't tend to be known as well because they're part of a bigger group. The girls that come out of singles or a 4-seater or a double are the ones you tend to know better. A la your daughter, for example.
But I think, Alan, you've shone a light on those girls who previously wouldn't have been well known on the schoolgirl rowing thing, because it was all about the 8s. Now, with your platform, you've given them a bit of a voice, but certainly there is a bit of a culture shock when they finish school and they've perhaps been in the best 8 crew in Victoria or one of the best, and then they get to a selection trial and they think, oh, these girls from a small school in Ballarat or somewhere else,
that's right,
running rings around them, which is.
Yes, but what they can't compete with, Binky, is which John and I can relate to, is they can't compete with our egos. And the better we think we are, the faster the boat will go. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe the 8, maybe not the pair, though.
Yeah, exactly. Binky's point. Yeah. Well, where are we? I'm sort of lost in all this. I'll tell you what.
I was going to mention that RV charging thing. Do you want to deal with that?
Yeah, well, let's
leave that for another day.
But we can't be. Let's not be too hard on RV. We don't.
No, we'll leave that for
very
another
hard
day.
Administering sport. But give us an update of what's happening. just give us an update, a quick update of what is happening.
I had a whisper that their RV are going to charge a flat rate on seat fees. And what that means is on the normal $12 seat fees for kids events, that RV will charge, say, $4 and get their half, which means that the schools will get less. But the schools will be allowed to charge more on seat fees. So the host, will perhaps be in a similar position to where they were before. But of course, the overall cost to the participants will go up.
Which then equates to basically pressure on rowing programs that have budgeted already for this season as to how much
like
it's going to cost.
It'll cost them about an extra $10,000 a year in seat fees.
Yeah, which they haven't budgeted for.
Which they haven't budgeted for, and I know that that discussion's been held with Rowing Victoria. So I mean, maybe the $12. I mean, obviously RV's made the decision that $12 seat fee is too low.
Yeah,
and they've come up with this pricing model. If this is true, I mean, I've just been told this, and it doesn't mean it's true. But that would mean, using that example, if you take $4 out as a flat fee, and that's $8 left, RV takes half the rest, which is $8. So the school earns $4, not $6. Yeah. Now, schools, every now and again, a school tells me, a parent goes through and tells me all the costs they have running a regatta. It's hardly worthwhile running because they don't make much money. And so if that's an extra imposition, the chances of getting more schools running regattas is probably lessened.
Yeah,
maybe.
and it's their big fundraisers too when they run these regattas, right?
Well, one thing we discussed on that Sacred Heart Regatta, taking out all those junior events. Where do you sell your egg and bacons and all that sort of stuff in the morning? You mainly sell them to junior parents because they're there en masse for 4 hours. So as well as all the rest of it, you take out 140 entrants out of a regatta. How's the poor school going to make a bob? I mean,
it's
stacked against the. I mean, that's why Furbank's not hosting a regatta anymore, because they couldn't make any money out of it. I know that.
Sorry, John, were you saying something there, John?
I was just going to say, it's a very hard way to raise money. You need a heap of volunteers. You don't make much money. You're better off doing, I don't know, some kind of parents have a row day. So the parents have a road day or something like that, where you charge seat fees to parents and train them. Like, to run a regatta, you don't make much money selling egg and bacon rolls. So
it's a huge amount of work.
Huge
Amount of work. And girls' schools, they fundraise one sausage at a time. We don't have the same culture of boys schools have a queue of men wanting to have a boat named in their honour or whatever. Girls' schools, one sausage at a time. We used to say that in our meetings, but to put on that Loreto Regatta was months of work for a team of parents with very little financial result, but a great cultural result, but still.
Yeah. So if RV takes a bigger cut, it even becomes less of interest. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, isn't this right? Am I right in saying this, John, that Carey pulled out of a regatta? They used to run something a couple of years ago, didn't they? And then they pulled out of it.
For years.
Yeah.
Well, they ran an event at Carrum that was very popular, and they moved to
that's right.
That was the second major regatta after the Loreto Turek Regatta for juniors. And
it was for juniors. Same weekend as Head of the Yarra, so the schools that didn't run Head of the Yarra, not the
major regatta.
But it moved into Gambie, and they were growing it, and then RV said move it back to Carrum, and Carey were like no, so that just stopped because it was hard work. To Binky's point, you had a thousand volunteers, you even enrolled some of the school children, and you don't make much money. So it's a lot of effort. You might as well just go and polish up some oars and sell them at an auction at a parents' cocktail party, or do a parents' head of the river, where you sell $400 seat fees for people that could have been champions that want to have a bit of a paddle, and it's a bit of fun, and you make a lot more money that way.
Yeah. Oh, well, enough about the money. That's the problem with all these sports, isn't it? We've just gone full circle. We started off talking about it, and we're back talking about it. But it is a factor. And I think one of the biggest concerns with any of these things is we've certainly seen a lot of the smaller schools. We've had a few. We've had 3, Alan, pull out in the last few years. Obviously,
can you see this? This is my dead schools file.
Oh, right. Okay. So,
Haileybury, Campbell, Haileybury.
Yep, Haileybury's gone.
Money, Haileybury.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is one of the things.
Alexandra.
Yeah.
Basically dead. Clonard, dead.
Yeah. God. Oh, well, the joys of it all, hey?
Get them all in singles, I say.
Sorry, Binky?
Build up their singles racing, then these schools don't have to have huge programs. You can have a program with 4 kids.
Good point. Yeah, good point. But they're a hell of courageous kids to jump in singles. Anyway, again talking about the singles, don't I? But yeah, it is.
At least they talk to each other in singles. They get on and become friends.
Yeah.
As long as they don't need a coach. That's when it becomes expensive to have a coach.
Oh yeah, equipment and so forth.
Oh no, coach. The coach is the issue.
The coach.
Well, if you have to have one coach for one sculler.
No. Yeah. One coach can take a group of, say, up to 6 scullers. If you've got a small program and you don't have enough to put crews together, you could have 6 singles under one coach.
Yeah. Well, down at Hawthorn we do a lot of singles going out because we're obviously a smaller club, but it sort of makes sense because if you're focusing on the 8s, you've also got the equipment cost of all of that stuff. But I liked your comment there, Alan, that they become friends then instead of fighting each other for a seat over an ergo.
I've met a number of single scullers over the years who've been forced there because they've been injured and haven't been in a bigger boat, or they've been a leftover. Yeah, and I've always said, just talk to the other competitors and you'll have a ball. And it's every year. They've often come up and said, "I've had a marvelous time in those 3 months." In single sculling, whereas sometimes in the 8s it gets a bit fresh.
Yes. Well, it's a different world.
As we've discovered in recent years, much to my chagrin, appearing in the newspaper.
Look, I don't want to go into this conversation right now, but we talk about all rowing the ultimate team sport, but you got to question it sometimes whether it actually is or not. Oh dear. Anyway, look, I reckon we're an hour in. I said we'd take about an hour, and we've covered an awful lot in an hour, so I think we've done pretty well. Big shout out. Thank you, John Perry from Yarra Yarra. Thank you, Campbell. I'm looking forward to catching up a bit more with you, Campbell, when we do get the season underway and we can talk about what's happening within the APS schoolboys side of things. Obviously, that becomes a very, very hot topic.
And we practice our commentating skills in the meantime. We can
exactly right. And for those that don't know, Campbell does have a very active Insta page. Well, reasonably active. Soon the season's very active. Gets a lot of attention.
Wrap up shortly.
Yep. So jump onto that. It's called, what is it? APS Rowing Review, isn't it? Is that what it's called?
I believe.
This one's got his.
It's Campbell something.
Campbell's APS. That is it. Yeah. Campbell's APS. If you get stuck, you can always put a question onto my Facebook page and we'll dig it out.
Bronwyn's APS.
Yeah, that'd be easier.
No, it's all good. And of course, Binky Kfouri, been great to have you back on board to chat. Hopefully, we can have another chat later in the season, and we'll find something to talk about. I'm sure. It has been
Mother
great.
Of a national champion.
Yes. Oh, of course, we should have mentioned that.
You forgot.
Yeah, we were going to say mother of opinions.
Which we like that as well, too, of course.
Number one under 21 single sculler in the land.
Yeah, that's a big statement, isn't it?
Jesus,
I tell you what, that's pretty impressive. You don't in the world of rowing
for a Victorian too. God.
Yeah, No, brilliant stuff. And of course, I think we can all agree that it's very hard to outclass Alan when it comes to knowledge and skills.
Pretty easy, I would have thought.
Well, I tell you what, then that makes the rest of us look pretty average, Alan. So I think take credit where it's due. Your knowledge is exceptional. Binky made a really valid point earlier about you highlighting the smaller boats. Which is absolutely right, because everyone else is talking about the 8s and the 1sts and so forth, and so you shine the light on all of those that do all the yards as well, which is great.
It's great fun.
Yep, no, all a bit of fun, and I just shouldn't go too far without mentioning, of course.
Yes.
There's this little chestnut, Beyond the Call, available now on Amazon. Just search on Amazon rowing books, and you will find this is right up the top. Going great guns. Sam, you might need to purchase a copy of this. Should I give you a signed one? Maybe I will, but I don't know. I shouldn't get too cheeky. He's challenged me to a single race. Yes, John?
That was in the Gambie. That was a mixed 8. I was in 7 seat. Why did you crop me out of the cover?
Yes, I think it might have been. It is a good shot, though, isn't it?
100% it was.
Yeah.
Is that a bit of AI or whatever it's called?
No, that is a very good. I'm very happy with that photo, but no, but it's very. It's. I've tried to keep away. You know, the book's all about the manual. Yeah. We'll call it more of a manual. Trying to keep it more to the nuts and bolts rather than the formal way people look at it. That's for sure, because I like to be a little bit more left of centre. But anyway, enough of that. You
might start writing letters to the age soon.
I don't think we're going to worry about any of that sort of stuff. I am working on volume 2 as we speak, so there will be a hard copy coming out shortly, which we'll get to. But anyway, that aside, so be sure to get yourself a copy. It's selling like hotcakes. I think I've sold about 30 copies, which actually I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy about.
Sell me one I'll see you on Saturday morning. You might have to.
Yeah. Might have to. Yeah, well, I should get some special copies to sign to give to special people, shouldn't I? That'd be about 2 copies I'd need. No, jokes aside. All right, look, let's wind it up here. We're going to 1 hour and 10 because I've just been speaking rubbish. Thank you guys very much. I look forward to doing some catch-ups in the season when we get the previews. Campbell, hopefully we can drag you in so we don't just have to talk about, have Alan talking for 2 hours about everything of the schoolgirls, which of course is exceptional. But it'd be nice to be able to mix in the schoolboys.
We could have some boys in there as well.
Exactly. We're an equal opportunity program here. And we may even discuss a bit of more Masters stuff later on as time progresses. Rob Manning is always keen to get on here and have a yap, and I was looking forward to having a chat with him about. He will have been very busy over the last few months getting boats ready ahead of the regatta season, but he's over in Italy at a wedding, so he sends his apologies, but he would have definitely been on here for a bit of a yarn about what he's been up to. I know he's been certainly very busy. Anyway.
Has he been busy in Turak as well?
Yes. I didn't ask him that.
I hear he's the top man.
Yeah, I don't know. Should we do we share rumours when we're on this?
You want to out him?
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't you mention something about his scene at St. Catherine's? I don't know.
More than being seen at St. Catherine's.
Well, there we go. There we go. Well, we'll have to check in with him on that one next time round. All right, well, let's end it up now. I've said that about 4 times. So everyone who's tuned in, thank you very much. I know it's early this time round, so plenty of you will be watching or listening while you're in your cars later on or what have you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Got any ideas for topics or whatever, by all means, shoot me a note and we can cover off in the next of our shows. But again, thank you guys. Thanks to the panel. You've been fantastic. Lots of knowledge amongst you all, and more than knowledge, passion. And that's what we love about doing all this. We're all just doing this for a bit of fun. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will see you next time on a live show ahead of our preview shows. And we'll speak to you then. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.